In this video, we're going to look at how to apply probabilities and make predictions using probabilities. So once you've found a probability using what we learned in the last video, you can use them to make predictions. So you multiply the probability by the total number of trials to get the predicted outcome. So if you flip a coin 100 times, how many times would you expect to get tails? Well, if about half the time it's going to land on heads and half the time it's going to land on tails, then we would expect that 1/2 times 100 would give us 50, or 0.5 times 100 would give us 50. So we would expect to get tails about 50 times, which should make sense. If you roll 30 dice, how many of them would you expect to be ones or twos? This one's a little bit trickier. We have to think about our sample space here. We're talking about a normal 6-sided die that would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And I'm asking how many of them would be ones or twos. So that's 2 out of 6 is the probability we're looking at here, or 1/3 of the time they're going to be ones or twos. And if we're rolling 30 dice, then about 1/3 of the time would be ones or twos, which would be about 10. So 1/3 times 30 would give us 10. Finally, if the odds of winning a scratch-it lottery ticket are about 1%, roughly how many winners will there be, 0.1%, roughly how many winners will there be in 600 people? So to do this one, I need to turn that percent back into a decimal so I can work with it. So I know that I always move the decimal place over twice, so it'll be 0.001 as a decimal, and I'm going to multiply that by 600. So I'll get and then I know that I'm going to need to move the decimal place 3 times. So 0.6 winners out of 600 people. So we could round that up to 1. So 1 or fewer winners, because it's 0.6 people. All right, let's look at one more example. So this one is using the idea of relative frequency, which is sort of the same idea as experimental probability. It's how often something has happened in the past, and we're going to use that to make predictions about the future. So let's pretend that we've got a soccer team here at Selwood and that they have this win-loss record below. Win-win, loss-tie, loss, win-win-win. And that was for the first 8 games. So let's assume that they have a similar performance in the next 4 games. How many can they expect to win? I want you to pause now and take a guess. See if you can back it up with some math. All right, so first let's see what percent of the games they won, or what fraction of the games they won. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins out of 8 games total. So they're winning 5 out of every 8 games. So in the next 4 games, if they perform similarly, we would expect them to win about 2.5 of them. So we can see this is true because I'm just reducing that fraction, right? Dividing by 2, dividing by 2. So they would win 2 or 3 of the next 4 games. And I just realized, I guess I used a kind of different strategy there. So the way I was showing you before, 5/8, you would then multiply that by 4. And when we multiply fractions, that would give us 20/8, which gives you 10/4 or 5/2 or 2.5. So 2.5 of the next 4 games. All right, so let's give the problem set a try. And if on any of these you're not sure how to do it mathematically, go ahead and just take your best guess. On these probability questions, our instincts are often pretty good, and it might be giving you the right answer even if you're not sure how to show it with math.